Good evening. How is everybody this Monday evening? Let's see. So I've been off from work for a while and made this stream very early this morning before I left for the office because apparently somebody has my name in their mouth. So I don't know what people take me for. I've never claimed to be a saint. I've never claimed to be just a wonderful, lovely person. No, they're going to get it real for me, always. Even if it's not nice. But apparently, a few days ago, I had something to say to Rebel during his live stream. And a person that goes by the name of A Happy Hippie, as well as the Truth and Tales channel, took some major offense to it. So let's go to her community post. So the title of the stream is Woman Up, Panel Up, or Shut the Hell Up. So I know you're in here, a happy hippie. And we can have a conversation like adults. We can have a conversation like adults, much like the one I had with Shiva, by the way. For those of you who watched my live streams, just because I'm pissed at you doesn't mean I'm not going to let you up on my panel and have a conversation with you. You should know that. But this lady has decided all sorts of things about me. So we have this post right here on Truth and Tales community page. And it says, never have I seen a person grieve the loss of a spouse and say you are irked that someone's mother is still breathing. Someone who just experienced the death of a loved one doesn't say that. Shame on you wanting death on anyone. You are not a nice being. You are on the same scale as Rebel. And of course, she has my post where I said, no one cares. I'm perversely irked about your mother still breathing these days, Connie. Then she goes on to say, lady who lost her husband 2 weeks ago writes this. Is this a grieving wife? So she deleted some remarks asking me if I even had a husband and did he actually pass away. So we've got Chicky who came in, who said, wow, no grace, eh? It's not like she is going through anything, but judge away. And Truth and Tales comes in and says, I will judge away. She has no grace. Well, first and foremost, a happy hippie. That's not what that comment meant. It meant maybe you should grant some leniency to somebody whose heart is truly hurting in a time of crisis. Now, I am not hurt by what you said to me because I don't really know you. I don't know you, lady. I've never had a thing to say about you. But what Chicky's comment meant was she's grieving and her heart is hurting. And maybe you should grant her some grace. It didn't have anything to do with the grace of what I said. I have freely admitted that what I said was a perverse sentiment. I admitted it in the statement I made. I don't deny it. And it's not really an act of wishing. It was just something that ran through my head at the moment as he's crying about what his 68-year-old mother has to endure while my 68-year-old husband lies awaiting cremation. So if you cannot appreciate that sort of feeling, then I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say at all. But I admit it's not my finest hour. I admit that it was a very perverse thing for me to think, but I'm not going to lie and say I didn't think it. See, that becomes thought control, Ms. A Happy Hippie Truth and Tales. So Chicky, she says to her, I will definitely refer back to this when you need grace. Tell me to fuck off again. It was classy. And then a happy hippie comes in on her own post. See, here's the thing. This lady comments on her own posts. We know that your Truth and Tales, a happy hippie. We know. Everybody knows. And she says, Chicky, I don't want grace from those who hang with people who tease a lady who lost her family in a fire. I haven't done that. I haven't done that at all. I don't want anything to do with that. Or from someone who dates a furry groper, an older woman abuser. That's hearsay. That's hearsay. That's something that you have no proof on. Tonic wasn't charged with, nor was he convicted of a crime. So, and the fact that you are coming at my friend Chicky, who was the first person from the community that I spoke to after my husband passed away, because she had said, you can call me at any time. Yeah, that pisses me off. You came at Chicky. Chicky's my girl. And I'm tired of you saying shit to her and treating her like she's some sort of terrible person because she's with Tonic. Fuck you, you raggedy old lady. Let's see, what do we have in here? Then Chicky says, You know nothing. I was there, but you'll excuse your behavior because that's your opinion. I'm so glad you know a lot about grief and that you know how everyone will react. Tr- uh, Chicky Chicky was one of the people that was with me and available for me practically around the clock the night my husband passed away and in the hours and first couple of days after it happened. She was there for me anytime that I needed her. All of the people in that server were there for me. I don't see, there were so many people that were there for me, Blues. It wasn't just Chicky, but Miss Hippie's coming at Chicky, and I don't like that at all. So a happy hippie says, I know and have felt grief. It's a part of life that hurts the most. I sure wouldn't wish it upon anyone. Go ahead and make excuses for Elizabeth saying that. There is no excuse for that. Oh, wait, because it's to someone disliked, it's okay. Fuck off. Okay, look, I said it wasn't a nice thing for me to say, but it's what I was feeling at the time. See, you've got Rebel complaining about his mother's miserable lot in life, how many luxuries she needs to be handed for free. And he really needs to know that there are worse things to be at 68 years old. Far worse. A happy hippie. This is Chicky. Who says I dislike Rebel? You make a lot of assumptions. I am pretty sure you make excuses for people too. Hypocrisy is everywhere. A happy hippie responded with, I believe I wrote someone disliked, not someone you dislike. So yesterday, when she told Chicky no grace is needed from a group of people who teases someone about a dead grandmother relentlessly, insincere grace would not be welcome nor accepted. You stick with ignorance, I'll stick with people who call it out. Thank you. So this was my response to a happy hippie. And probably what prompted her post this morning. Hey, again, I will ask you, do you want to have a rational adult discussion or do you just want to rant? I know what motivates me, and it's generally not having something to complain about. I'm not sure it's the same for you. You don't get to point fingers at anyone about where they hang out. As long as you hang out with a woman who said she hoped that my friend Corrosive's wife and daughter are assaulted so she can broadcast and laugh about it on YouTube, you don't get to play pious and pontificate about how you're so much better than everyone else. As long as you do that, lady, you don't get to play gatekeeper. So I'm all set with that right now. But I will fire up a live right now if you want to have an honest discussion. So look here, you judgy old biddy. I'm not going to play victim and cry and say, you came at me at my darkest hour. I'm not going to do that. What you are dealing with is a lady who's suffered a lot of loss. I lost my dad at 28. I lost my mother at 37. And now I'm a 47-year-old widow. So I've suffered a lot of loss. And to see him crying about his mother, who's never done anything for society but gift us with that grifting fuck bag. She's never done anything. She's a leech. And my husband was a good man. He was a good husband, and he was a good father who worked every day of his life and sacrificed so he could give me and my kids that were not his kids a good life. Fuck you. My husband was the best man in the world, the best man I've ever known. And the fact that, yeah, I value his life over anybody else's, even mine. Yeah. So, once again, I'm going to drop this link. I pretty much know what the outcome is going to be. I'm going to pin it to the top of the page. If you've watched my panels, I have freely admitted to being utterly undone by I have freely admitted to being utterly undone by the double whammy of my mother's death and my daughter's diagnosis with schizophrenia and everything that went along with those events. I know what mental illness is. I've suffered it. And the fact that people think I'm strong now, my experience grieving my mother in particular, and to a lesser extent my father, because we were not as close, taught me that laying down and dying is not going to change the fact that he's gone. Hell, I even realized the futility of wishing it were Connie's mother instead of my husband. I made a human statement. I don't take it back. I don't apologize for it. People in this community do not want apologies. As you can see, this person wants to flay me, as I've said before. People don't want apologies. They want to flay you. So, rather than coming up on my panel and having an honest adult discussion, because we could, absolutely. Absolutely. She wants to come armed with receipts about what she perceives as my lies. So what is it going to be? Are you going to prove that I'm A, I wasn't married, B, not a widow, or C, both? Because I got news for you. There's more than one person in the community that has seen my husband's obituary. So that little lie ain't going to hold. So you can see here, the picture's distorted. She put glasses over my face, sunglasses. It's all blurry, but you can see my chair molding up here at the top behind my head. So, and it says in the picture, coming next week, need to impress, lies, excuses, obsession. Okay. Yeah. I picked Rebel as my project. What are you going to say? That I lied about wanting to help him? In the beginning, I really, really did. But see, Rebel is just not likable no matter how hard you try. He's a mean-spirited, hateful, entitled little fuckbag who thinks the world owes him a living for nothing, who thinks his mom and him should get curbside service to smoke like a rapper on all of our wallets. And I still honestly see him as somebody who has an upcoming date with fate. And this community, anyone who has given him money is responsible for keeping him here and not doing something about having an income. I can't even talk about my own personal situation, but you know, he shouldn't wait. He shouldn't wait about that. He shouldn't wait for his mother to pass away to apply for his own benefits. And the fact that you think I'm lying about any of that, I can't convince you. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm an ordinary woman. I was married to an ordinary man. And even though there were a lot of bumps along the way, especially well, everybody has those bumps. We had an extraordinary love for each other. We really did. I've said before that I was a prickly, bitchy sort of girl, and I was very fortunate to be married to a kind and loving man. And the fact that I had a moment while Connie thinks him and his mom should get curbside service to smoke an eighth to the face a day. Yeah, in that moment, it flew all over me. My husband, who was beautiful He was a beautiful person, a beautiful soul. Never screamed and yelled at anybody because he wasn't getting his way. God, I've said before, in 23 years, I can count on one hand the number of times that he raised his voice to me. And I assure you, every single time I absolutely deserved it. I deserved it more often than I got it. But to suggest that I didn't have a husband, there's any number of people that spoke to me in Discord in voice after it happened. And they could all tell you the first few days, I would start hyperventilating at random as it would crash down on me all over again. The people in Discord that know me as a person, that knows how many times over the past couple of years I've made a statement about Rebel being in an untenable situation when his mother passes. I've mentioned it before in private. So to say that I never wanted to do anything that was of benefit to him, look, all of these women in the community that were throwing money at Rebel and the few dumbass guys, nemesis, they were keeping him here. They really were. Placating him, putting Band-Aids on his hemorrhage, because that's what his money issues are. They are a hemorrhage. They're not just a $50 this week and he'll be fine on payday and it'll all be good. It's a hemorrhage. And the fact that some of us had to keep after him and get savage about it with him to dry up those donations. Oh, wow. He needs to apply for assistance because, see, people, I've seen the statements that a Happy Hippie's made in chat, about how I could possibly raise a special needs child and say the things I do about Rebel. Well, guess what? I can tell you for a fact that my daughter with schizophrenia says that having a mental illness is not an excuse to act like a raging cunt because you don't get what you want. But you do not get to talk about who hangs out with who while you hang out where you do. I don't comment on where people hang out. I don't care. I go where I want to go. I hang out with who I want to hang out. There's a lot of people in Tonic server that aren't fans of Rada. I'm in Rada's server. I go where I want to go. But yet you want to cast judgment on where people hang out and gatekeep while you hang out in the chat of somebody who wishes assault of the worst insidious type on a woman or a minor daughter, and they want to broadcast it on YouTube and laugh about it. We can talk about somebody who lied under oath and said she never said she was going to kick little toddlers in the crotch. But, oh, guess what? She did. You do not get to play gatekeeper, lady. So you can come up here I guess you're not. You're a coward. You want to respond to me in your little truth and tales video where you bring receipts. What are you going to bring? I've never pretended to be anybody fancy that impresses anybody. I grew up in a solidly middle-class household with parents who sacrificed so we could have little extras. I'm not fancy. My husband and I've mentioned before about my mental illness and the financial struggles that it brought to our life several years ago, and how we hadn't recovered from it when he passed away. I've never pretended to be anything. I don't know where people get off. And all of this stuff is stuff that I can cite in earlier live panels. So who's lying about what? Now, if there is anybody who would like to come up and share their own personal experiences with a happy hippie, or even give the old battle axe, the what for, in their own words, I'd love for you to do that. Because I'm not going to dox you. I want to talk to you about what you do here and how you think you have the right to judge others for what they say or do here. I bet I can't say that for your pal. I know she's doxed me. So, what gives? That's okay. This was too good. I knew that I would call you out and you'd not come up. Wow.
It's me.
Yay.
I don't think I need to address any more than you already have. I just think it's funny.
Well, I know what kind of vile shit she said to you over the past year. So,
yeah.
Fuck her. You know, I've never had a cross word to say to her. Not even when she was saying all that bullshit about how Tonic should have been grateful for Huckleberry. Oh yeah, grateful, while she left him to die and then accused him of assault. Okay. Whatever.
I think it's funny that I haven't said a word to Huckleberry since all of that happened, and I still got doxxed. I'd like to prove where I ever said anything about that hooker. So, I mean, I just think it's funny that, they're going to, Happy Hippie's going to call stuff out, but she doesn't call her friend out. She wants everybody else is supposed to call everybody else's friends out. Everybody comes to me to call Tonic out. But you know what? They're not going to dox me if I call them out, and I have called my friends out. But you know what?
You called Tonic out. God, you told Tonic in no uncertain terms that if he did what he did last May or April or May again, that you'd fucking break up with him.
Yep. But, everybody runs around in their little circles, and I see it, saying that I co-sign his bullshit, and that is absolutely not the truth.
They get their little ideas on shit. I know.
Yeah, they do. They do. But don't expect to call anybody out, on their side, because they will dox you if you go against them, They may not do it right on a panel, but they'll definitely put a little sock account out there and dox your whole freaking family tree. But come on now, guys. This is ridiculous.
Angry Texas girls.
Yep. It gets exhausting. And when you sit over there and you listen to everything she says, and then I say, well, what do you think of this? Or did you hear this? And you're moving or you're cleaning. Come on now. You're listening to every fucking word. You're just too scared to admit that you won't call her out. If you are really telling the truth, call her out the next time she says something that's rude. Do it. See what happens to you. The woman can't take any criticism whatsoever. Do it. She'll probably dox me just for saying this up here. Come on. She has the thinnest skin fucking alive. If you didn't, you wouldn't go live every day to tell us everything that was said the night before, the day before, during that day.
Yeah. I mean, I've been told that she's lied about Ace.
Yep.
So, yeah, yeah. The people here, they cannot hurt me about the passing of my husband more than his passing is hurting me now. Assuming that he didn't exist or he didn't pass or any of that, it doesn't change anything for me. Nothing.
Nope. I just get tired of all this stuff. We all run around like we all don't do the same bullshit. I mean, like people come up and go, "I don't do that," but yeah, you're chatting, you're talking about it. Everybody is involved in this bullshit one way or another. Even if you're weaponizing other people to do your dirty work for you.
Yeah, if you're hiring guns, especially of the retarded ferret variety, I don't know what she thinks I was lying about, but never claimed to be a saint, never claimed to be anything impressive. So he is a retarded ferret, Joe Samuel. The fact that he just can't figure out why this is a problem. Yeah, it makes him retarded. But I should have known. I mean, I knew she wasn't going to come up. She wants to do her thing her way. She doesn't want to woman up and come up here and have an actual discussion with me because, well, I'd wipe the floor with her.
Well, and it's a lot easier to pretend she didn't see this live stream, you know?
Oh yes, she was busy moving.
Yeah. Or I'm going to get ganged up on, so there's no point in coming up here. I think of you as pretty fair, so.
If she wanted to come up here, I'd drop you. Because this is between her and me. Not that you don't have your own shit with her, but yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't bring her up here just so everybody could wail on her. That's not how I work. I mean, when I brought Shiva up here, there was nobody else here. And when I hosted that brief live where I dropped a link for Rebel, I told him I would not allow anybody up here to gang up on him while he was up here with me. But what do I know? I guess she thinks I'm lying about that too.
Well, we knew she wasn't going to do it anyway.
Of course
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to sit in judgment than to actually solve the problem, fix the problem. You know,
Yeah.
that's the one thing that we have in this community that probably drives me the most freaking insane from my background is I like to solve problems. We all just like to carry on the bullshit till the end of time and talk about it for another 10 years. I would rather talk it out, get over it.
And see, and that's why I got involved in the whole Rebel mess, because our men were not solving this. And whether or not we are a troll community, I would like to think we have a little humanity too. And it's not just a good idea to keep giving this person who clearly is special needs upstairs enabling him. And the way he treats everybody should not be borne. But, you know, these people, they get this idea, oh, I'm going to piss off Andrew, or I'm going to piss off Tonic, or I'm going to piss off Katie, or I'm going to piss off Liz. I'm going to give Rebel some money, give him $10. You know, when that happens, I'm just like, oh, fooling their money.
Yep.
You want to pour your money down a rat hole? That's on you.
And that's when Fox probably got the most mad, is when people were giving him money. And I had to explain to him, there's nothing you're ever going to do to make everybody stop. But you can warn the newbies to learn from the mistakes of the old, and hopefully they won't get stuck in the same position everybody else has done by donating or trying to weaponize Rebel or try to befriend Rebel when Rebel's going to do what Rebel does.
Right. The best thing we've been able to do is we've made it not profitable anymore for him.
Right.
He'd get paid more in a sweatshop in India.
And I'm under the, like, if he could actually get a job, like if he really truly wanted to get a job, which we know he doesn't, but like, I think he'd be happier. Like, who wants to sit at home all day and be bored, or try to sit around and hope that you can get enough money for this or that?
Do you know, even with everything I was going through 3 weeks ago, after the first initial shock wore off, and I had about 2 days left to my bereavement leave, my mind started turning back to my caseload, because I was bored just sitting at home. I was pretty much in seclusion. And honestly, I've needed something else to think about besides how much I miss my husband. I have really thrown myself into work. My husband was my very, very best friend, and he understood me better than anybody else on this planet. And that includes my late mother.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not my responsibility, but I know how losing my mother utterly destroyed me mentally for a very long time. And it's going to destroy Rebel too. And at the same time, the fact that he's done nothing to plan for that inevitability Inevitability, Rebel. I hope to have another 20 years with my husband, Connie. I really did. We have a granddaughter, a beautiful granddaughter that I hoped he would get to see walk across the stage at graduation. And it was feasible.
Yeah.
Mike's father lived to be 89. His mother lived to be 94. But my husband had some health issues. He was the sickly one. He's the one who had allergy shots and was asthmatic and, you know.
But never complained.
But never complained. I was thinking about this funny story. He was talking about, how his parents were country folks. And oh gosh, I teased him about this and he got embarrassed. He said his parents were country folks and my husband was asthmatic. And he was getting, he was sick all the time and he had allergies. And the old wives' tale was if you get a child, a small dog, and let that small dog sleep with them, they won't be sick anymore. And so they got him a Chihuahua that he called Little Bit. My husband was about 6 years old. And I said, so to put this in terms of today, my big strapping 6'4" husband had a yippy yappy Taco Bell dog. And he said, hey, that was my dog.
That's cute.
Yippee yappy Taco Bell dog. He didn't like cats. You know what he said about Tobers? That asshole cat is going to outlive me. Just a lovely man.
Mm-hmm.
I was so blessed.
I'm just sad I didn't get to meet him in person. We were working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had people message me. I had somebody who had been a coworker of his message me and tell me how heartbroken they were and how my husband taught them about being a good manager and being a good man. And those sentiments just overwhelm me. That when people think about my husband, they'll think about what a good man he was, because that's his legacy, how good he was.
Yep, exactly. That's all we can ever hope for, deep down. That's why I try not to fight with all these weirdos out here. But, we all do it every once in a while, right? We're all human. And we forget about that. We forget we're all human. We all turn the computers or laptops off, and then we go about our business in a way different way than we do online. You guys will never understand what it's like to live in my shoes here in my real life, and I will never understand what it's like to live in your shoes in your real life. We have to remember that. And people can say I'm a hypocrite, but that's me. I'm not a hypocrite, but that's me. That's my heart. That's how I feel about things. Whether you believe it or not, that is me.
Chicky. She's one of the people here that have a heart. She's the one in VC that's always telling people, I don't like that. Don't do that. Whether you believe it or not.
Right. So before you judge any of us, maybe get to know us first.
And that's how I felt in the end. When I'm not crying my eyes out, I have moments where I'm almost philosophical about it.
Yeah.
Intellectually, I know what happened was meant to happen. Still sucks.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I know that I was always going to outlive him, but having a shorter marriage with a truly exceptional man was worth it.
Yep.
Quality over quantity.
Oh, I like that, Sancho. I feel like that's me a lot.
And unless you're rebel. You know, when I started out on the whole rebel thing, I really thought that maybe, I could encourage him towards applying for assistance and, maybe getting a part-time job or something if he would let me talk to him. Because what he is doing is counterintuitive towards his mental health. Everything he does is hurting him. He's hurting himself. And I've raised a child with a profound mental illness. Successfully, I might add. One of the few things I can really brag upon.
And the cutest grandkid I've ever seen that I would steal someday.
Well, her I will brag on.
Yeah. She's too cute.
I only had a little bit to do with it all, but
She's cute.
just
Are
my
you?
beautiful.
You're very cute. I know.
It is like, oh, you are so cute. Yes, I am. That's what she said to Steph. she says, oh my God, you are so cute. She says, yes, I am.
I wish I had as much confidence as that little girl right there.
Well, if you look like that little girl, you'd have that confidence.
Yeah, true. And the talent, Jesus.
I'm not, I don't want to brag, but she's just a stunner. That's just all there is to it.
Yep. I know.
Just all big blue eyes and blonde mermaid waves. I don't know. My trip down to the abyss only made me certain I never wanted to be there again.
I never said that, Sancho. You liar. I'm exposing you tonight.
It's almost like, I don't know, just in the past week or so, it just, my resolve is just solidified.
You hear the squeak toys?
Oh, the dogs.
Yeah. Little chocolate lab.
How's your palm doing with them?
Oh, she's a leader. I don't know where she gets that from.
From Chicky.
They start fighting in the living room. I'm babysitting 2 dogs. They start fighting in the living room, and my Pomeranian starts barking at them to stop fighting. She's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. Hey."
Meow.
It's a Tober's break.
And I guess I came up with the Tober cat. The beautiful boy. The sweetest cat. He's so cute.
He needs to learn how to take over a bed.
He's getting better.
Sprawl out more, cat.
You know, he's real funny. Sometimes during the night, I will find him with his head on my pillow. Sometimes I will find him molded around the top of my head.
You have somebody backstage, babe.
Yo.
Hey.
Welcome back to the air. Well, second show back. I only have a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to jump up and say, where do people get off deciding they get to tell somebody else how they're allowed to grieve? When did that become a goddamn thing?
I don't know. It was, look, I freely admit that it was a very perverse sentiment on my part. I said so.
I get it though. I get it. When I've lost people, when I lost a friend, it pissed me off that the friend of mine who worked 60 hours a week and was clean, didn't even drink, died when other people his age were running around doing horrific shit and seemed to get through it. I wondered why. I get it. I completely get the sentiment. You didn't wish ill on anybody. You just wondered.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I still want to know, where do these people get off saying, well, that's not what somebody does? You don't get to make that decision for somebody else. Nope. Some people pull inwards and sit in their house and read a book for 2 months. Some people go out and howl at the moon. Some people tear off their shirts and run down the street screaming. Some people build fucking the Eiffel Tower out of toothpicks. Some people hang out with friends and are outgoing and gregarious, and some people isolate themselves and cut themselves off. You don't get to decide what somebody else should or shouldn't fucking do. And you don't get to judge them for doing something you wouldn't.
Just exactly.
Stop. I've already done the disappear into reading and the cut myself off thing, and I've learned my lesson. It was a very sobering moment the night my husband passed to realize the last 2 years of your life had been about that moment.
Yeah, I mean, we had that discussion in Discord and in chats, but I mean,
it was, you know, I got better, you know, I got back to work full time. I turned my life around, and it was all to prepare me for that, because that was coming for me the whole time.
I want to know why some people insist on claiming that YouTube, Discord, places that we all hang out and interact and talk and see pictures of each other's lives and know what's going on in each other's lives is somehow not real.
Right.
When I go to I know less about the people at the grocery store who bag my groceries. And yet, if somebody in my family passes away, they're going to ask, and I'm going to talk to them, and they're going to say, I'm so sorry. And we're going to share an emotional bond. But why is it that the people that, for some of us, we've been hanging out with here for years, but if you come to talk to them when something happens in your life, somehow one of these fucking retards can look at you and go, "Well, there's something wrong with you. Why are you talking to people here? You should be talking to real people." You are real people.
Right.
Yeah, everybody here's real people. Not only that, I didn't spend a lot of time away from my husband and home. I like to log off and be with him in the evenings.
Yep.
And it's easier once you're done with voice chat. You just hang it up and you're right there to hang out with, whoever you want to hang out with.
Yeah. I never had a life that meant spending a lot of time away with friends and away from my husband. That's not the kind of marriage we had. I just don't know. When people have a human moment, whether it's sometimes those human moments aren't pretty, they're not kind, and they're not nice. Sometimes they're not. And especially when you're grieving, your feelings are totally mixed up. Sometimes I rapid cycle throughout the day.
That's going to happen for a while. That's part of the process. I mean,
oh God, you were there the first couple of days. I mean, I would just start hyperventilating out of nowhere.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what you really need is somebody to just sit there, listen, and be quiet, and occasionally make sure you've had a glass of water recently.
Or you've eaten.
Oh yeah, they were up my ass about that for days.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me how far I have watched some people around here slide from what I would have considered a decent human being into somebody who just wallows in the misery of others to make themselves feel better in the last couple of years. It's insane. If people try
I
the shit that
admit to
they
wanting
do
to make
here,
Rebel miserable from time to time.
that's not really what I'm talking about. And you know it. If people tried in the real world what they do here, they would end up hospitalized or worse. I'm serious. Imagine, for what a lot of people say in these chats, imagine walking into a bank or a bar or your local weed dispenser, whatever you want to say, walk in there and act like you do in YouTube chats and see how long it takes for somebody to cross your teeth with a baseball bat. It's not going to take long. A lot of big talkers here that I 100% fucking guarantee do not talk that way in real life. Not to anyone.
Oh, yeah. No.
Not to their significant others, not to their children, not to their parents, not to their anyone, not to their mail carrier. They don't fucking do it. They come here because they're ineffectual little dickheads in their real lives. So they come here to take it out on everybody else. And then they sit here and they say, well, what people say doesn't bother me. Right. That's why you're live 2 hours a night, every night, one place or another, telling everybody how much it doesn't bother you. It bothers you.
Yep. And then we wonder why no one goes live anymore. Like, seriously. We don't want to breed the own hate in our own chats.
Andrew.
RoboCop.
Come back on stage, Andrew.
Sounds like Winky being sucked through a vacuum.
Oh my God. Andrew, you're going to have to log off and come back on. I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah,
that was bad.
Sounded like a mouse in a blender, bro.
Yeah.
I know why nobody's going live. Nobody wants their phone to ring or a pizza to show up at their door, or the police to be sent to their fucking house.
Yep.
And you got people laughing about it. You got people that think this is hilarious.
It's fixed now. Sorry.
There you
All
go.
right.
They're on
How are
microphone.
you?
That's a terrible porn blocker you have. You know that, right? If I
Yeah, I
wanted to
know.
porn bomb you, I could have, but you know.
Oh, I had my finger on the trigger.
But no, I just had to come up and tell Carosa that he's absolutely wrong. There are people on here that talk the way they do in public.
Do they get their asses kicked a lot?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, but you're not one of the people that I'm talking about, Andrew.
Oh. I was just saying. I mean, I talk. I'm the one going through Walmart screaming bullshit. I mean, look. I mean, I am. Look, I told many people I am who I am here or in real life. It's the same.
Right, but you're generally funny about it. You do stuff that's funny, not this like violent, challenging, like trying to fight everybody stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I had my time that I did.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, imagine Trumpy in the real world walking up to people and going, "I'm a gang leader. I could have you killed." I mean, he's not doing that.
That would be pretty funny.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's some people. It's not everybody. Obviously, it's not everybody, but it's those people whose constant just deluge of hate has dragged the entire discussion down to that level.
Well, I mean, our so-called little community, you know, it's dead.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's the rebel community now.
You know, it's been dead for a while, and I'm kind of glad to see it go. You know, to an extent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, people go live every now and then and it's entertaining, but it's not like it used to be. Remember the days where there was somebody on from 8 in the morning until midnight
That was
every day?
pandemic driven, Coco.
Hey, some of us.
I know it was.
Overnight.
And it kept going for a while after that. It did keep going for a while, but you know, some people got lives and some people found other things to do. And then some people turned up who went, "Hey, this is easy prey." Because these people, man, if you look sideways at these people, they'll give your information to somebody and then I can get it and then I can start harassing the shit out of them.
I mean, well, we all know. I mean, I'm a pro doxing, so.
Yeah, but I don't think you're pro pizzas and police and plumbers and fucking
that I'm not.
cops and
No, that I'm not.
Yeah.
Or pro doxing just because they hurt your feelings.
You know, people,
Well, I mean,
the whole doxing thing, people cry about people using Connie's mother's first name. Dude, he's used her name
constantly.
Even people's feelings get hurt. So look, everything is very it's very subjective, right? Everything we do on here, right? Her feelings is subjective, right? If you say something to somebody and they dox you, well, in their mind, it's justified. See, I mean, so that's subjective. So I mean, her feelings and doxing go hand in hand. We've seen it many a times. I'm okay with it.
People do it in VC all the time. You see people get in a fight, okay, and then you people just kind of spit everybody's, you know, first and last back at each other because they're pissed.
Hey, look, I applaud you if you can keep your I can't say the word.
Anonymity.
Yeah, private. You know, I applaud you for that. Good on you, but it's very hard to do on here.
I don't know though. I think that there are some people that run their mouth way too much to deserve that anonymity.
Absolutely. And for too long, those people will get outed.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between, "Hey guy, we know who you are," and "Hey guy, we know who you are, and we're sending pizzas and cops and calling every place you work, and we're calling your job, and we're going to call the school your kids go to, and we're going to take you to fucking court because you said something online that hurt our fifis."
Oh, there's quite a few that's done that already.
Oh, and it's getting worse, and it's ramping up again. I mean, what the hell?
Where's she at? Can we get a fucking OR 2024 going on? Or RO. Sorry, I said it backwards, didn't I?
I mean,
I was
I'm
like,
not even
what?
touching.
Sorry, I had to say it went backwards. My dyslexic has kicked in hard today. Sorry.
I'm not even touching that bullshit that's going on with court cases in the Midwest right now, because I don't give a single shit about any of the fucking people involved. But it's so stupidly silly. Like, the judge said that people should just avoid each other. Why don't you just try that once? Just avoid each other. All of y'all, just avoid each other. There's a block button. You don't have to watch what people say. Just stop.
Look, like I was saying earlier in Discord, me and Corrosive hasn't always seen eye to eye. We have I guess an unspoken mutual agreement. We just don't go low with each other more. We just stopped. Right? It wasn't fun. It wasn't what we wanted to be, so we stopped.
Yep. It wasn't getting anything accomplished.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
Corrosive wasn't going to go anywhere, and neither was Andrew. So there you are.
I mean, it was pointless.
But yeah, I do remember the Corrosive and Andrew feud. You backbiting motherfucker.
Yeah, backbiters. Yeah. It was retarded. I mean, look, I've stepped away from this a lot because, frankly, I don't like a lot of you fucking people. I think a lot of y'all are two-faced, backbiting pieces of shit. But that's just my opinion.
Well, that's not all of it. The long and short of it is Andrew became a settled down married man with a lady he wanted to be with.
This is also true.
Yeah.
I just don't have time for y'all's stupidity. When I say y'all, I'm speaking to the people that, I'm speaking to. Not certain people, but yeah.
Look, I didn't get into this in the VC earlier over at the Trap House. But basically, the long and short of it, Andrew, is I said some things that were pretty raw to Connie the other day.
Okay.
And what I said to him, he was going on about how his poor 68-year-old mother, she deserves an easy life. She's having to carry groceries. She's having to do that. And I finally just said, there are worse things to be at 68, Rebel.
Yeah, she can still be a heroin hookie.
Andrew, my late husband, was 68 years old.
Well, there's that.
And that's what I meant, because I followed it up with another raw statement. And this was what a happy hippie took exception to. I said, I'm perversely irked that your mother is among the living these days. And it just washed all over me, because you've got this little window licking retard fuckbag screaming about how the world owes him curbside service to smoke like a rapper every day of the world. And you have my husband, who is a kind and gentle man, who is a good husband and father, who worked his fucking ass off every day of his life for nearly 50 fucking years.
Yeah.
And then you have Ellen, who gifted the world with Connie.
But she worked her ass off too. Trust me, a lot of John smacked that.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
You're not sorry at all.
No, I'm not. No,
You're not.
Right. I'm not.
But it just flew all over me in that minute. And at the time, I said it was a perverse sentiment on my part. I didn't say it was nice. I never said it was nice. But it was how I was feeling in that moment while he was crying that his mother deserved this and that and this and that and this and that. When I was thinking, well, what about my husband? My husband deserved to live with me another 20 years or more.
Yeah. Do you think Connie will put Ellen in a nursing home like they did Mary?
He won't be able to afford to. How would he?
That's true.
He has no job. He has no assistance. And when she passes, see, I said on my panel the other day, Andrew, that my marriage was something that I always knew was an upcoming date with fate. that I always knew that I would outlive my husband. And Connie has his own upcoming date with fate where his mother is concerned. Because when she passes, and I'm somebody who was utterly crippled by my mother's passing, and his passing is going to cripple him in a similar way. But on top of that, he will have no monthly stipend. He will have no Section 8 housing. He will have no food stamps to fall back on because they were all his mother's. And he never signed up for anything for himself, ever.
What a glorious day that'll be. I'm sorry. Once again, I shouldn't have said that.
Look, as much as I don't like him, I had a lot more desire to help him see the error of his ways in the beginning.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then I realized what a god-awful person he is. What an entitled little shitbag he is.
His mother's just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she is. She is the reason he is the way he is. She is the driving force. When he broke his silence the other day, it was because Mom Squatch had been in there telling him that he wasn't going to get anything by being quiet.
He damn well know it.
All that said, I don't think either one of them has anything that if they wanted to, they couldn't fix.
What did he say the other day that his mom has like $1,000 in fees for her credit card or some shit?
This is what I am able to piece together. They did. I think she drew out cash on a credit card.
Oh, that's terrible. Terrible idea.
Isn't that terrible? That's the most awful idea in the world. Just so she could go buy Connie and her weed.
Well, could you imagine having him raging around your house without weed and smokes for days on end?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's called Smack It, Little Bastard. I mean, shit.
It's called School of Hard Knocks.
It's called
Life's lessons learned.
Of course, I still firmly believe, and maybe I'm wrong. I might be. This is my opinion. I'm not stating it as fact, but I firmly believe that when he got out of the nut hatch and he was doing so good and he was so blessed and everything looked so wonderful and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as she got a hold of him again, he had to get that toxins out of his system, all that stuff they give you when you're in there. I'm sure that was her influence. I'm sure she doesn't want him leveled off because if he's leveled off, he's not going to be grifting online all day.
Well, he went to this big spiel last night about how the reason why he doesn't work is because they take away his mom's food stamps and he has to pay for food and bills. And I'm like, oh, so your money has to go to monthly expenses just like everybody else's does. You got to buy food. You got to pay bills. You got to pay rent. You got to do this with your money just like everybody else does. And he thinks he's too good to be like everybody else and use his money to pay bills. And it pisses me the fuck off.
I mean, you can hear his attitude about money when he sits there and he goes, you all got money to buy your kids shit, but you won't buy me anything. Right. Rebel, you're not my
you're not our kid.
If I start smoking weed, would y'all
no, fuck off
for me?
I don't think Ace would be too happy about that.
Serious question. Would y'all?
No.
Well, y'all are shit people. I agree with Rebel. Oh.
Right.
Don't think I've ever denied that I'm a shit person. I mean, it should be not shock anyone.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing, a happy hippie telling me, you are not a nice person, Elizabeth K. I never said I was. I never said I was a saint. I never said I was a nun. I never said I was perfect. I never said I hadn't made mistakes. In fact, I think the whole theme of my channel has been trying to overcome some of my fuck-ups in life.
Do y'all remember when Connie said that if I got a job, he'd get a job? Well, I've got a full-time job now. Where's Connie's job?
That's right. You did recently get a full-time job. I think I
I clocked in on a
congratulated
time
you.
clock. 5 days a week.
Congratulations. Over the table.
Yeah, over the table, unfortunately. Yeah, I pay taxes now.
Hey, and pretty soon you'll be able to drive and not travel.
That's true too. That's coming quickly.
I don't know. I've watched Happy Hippie sit people's chats for 2 years and talk unending shit on people, and then to turn around and go, "You should be nice, get fucked," eat an entire bag of rancid donkey cock, woman.
Why donkey?
Because it's gross.
Yeah, that's true.
She's neither happy nor a hippie. She's a fucking angry old lady with dreadlocks that mice live in, and she can go fuck herself.
Yeah.
What kind of mice? Like the little bitty cute ones, or like the big furry ugly ones from the field?
I don't know. I'm not getting that close to her, bro. I'm just not.
But I just, I'm just not going to apologize for how I felt in that moment, because it is how I felt. I'm not going to take it back and say I didn't feel that way. That would be fake. It would be a lie.
Sorry.
I said that would be fake of me and a lie.
Is it sad that I can't wait for the day that Ellen dies to see what happens to Connie?
That's morbid. I didn't even say that. It's morbid though. That's very.
I'm not wishing her death now. I'm not trying to say I want her dead.
That's not what I was saying either.
I just can't wait till that day it does happen, whenever that may be, 10, 20, maybe a month or two, whenever it is.
A month or two.
Just to see Connie.
Tomorrow isn't guaranteed.
Nope. Never was.
So, those of you, especially those of you that are married, turn to your spouse and tell them how much you love them.
Babe, I love you.
Oh my God. She said turn.
I did turn it direction. She's in the other room, so
I said tell, not yell.
Andrew, will you send her flowers? I will send her flowers. I'm sure she won't get them though.
He'll send the bushes around the door flowers because that's where we'll be stomped and kicked.
You love me too.
I think, in spite of everything that's happened, the fact that my marriage had always been, my husband and I were very, very close, even before I got well. But after we got well, we were just practically inseparable. And we just made the most of it. Of that time. So even though it was the last we would have together, the last couple of years, we made the most of it. And that's been so comforting to me over the past 3 weeks, just knowing that we went out on a high note,
Yep. And I'm glad you had that.
I mean, I talked to you about it while it was going on, about how fortunate I was that he stuck with me through sickness and in health.
Yep.
Which is why I'm fighting every day to stay where I am.
And you're doing well. And you should give yourself a big old pat on the back for that. I know a lot of people who would not be handling this nearly as well as you are.
Well, I've had the experience of handling it badly. Not my spouse, but an equally or almost equally devastating loss. I could tell you, Nothing in the world feels like this. In fact, I think I told you that I hope you go first so you never have to know.
Yeah, you did. Thanks for that, I guess. I get the sentiment. It's just a weird thing to hear.
Sorry, I'm doing something with Ace, so I'm sorry. Kind of preoccupied. I see. There's my payroll check.
Okay. Yeah, you're
Playing
right.
Monopoly again?
So, but I don't think that would have to. What?
Said, are you playing Monopoly again?
No, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I probably just wait till tomorrow.
Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, and then go from there. Because we're gonna have to.
Okay.
Anyway,
So anyway, yeah, where I work at lets me withdraw some of my check before I get it. I got a bill that's due. I need to pay.
Look at you doing big boy stuff.
All right.
you're not going to buy weed with it?
No, I'm not gonna buy weed. No, not buying weed.
You're supposed to buy weed and then demand that people pay your bill.
That would be great. But the way the thing's set up, I guess wait for a one set deposit, and then I gotta put this code in. It's just a weird shit. I'm assuming since I did it at 3:00 today, it'll probably be tomorrow before all that happens because business hours or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. An hour and a half is enough for a weeknight panel, and I go to work tomorrow, so.
Oh, I'm off tomorrow.
I made my point. I said what I had to say, and she didn't come up. I didn't think she would, but whatever.
And nobody
I
thought
heard-
she would. That's not what she does. She sits back and snipe. She doesn't ever go at somebody. She won't talk to somebody about it.
No, she
Do I
won't.
have
She
to-
doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
Do I have a hippie? She'll post a video of a clip of something up here. Probably. That's what
I
she
don't
does.
care. I don't care. Never said I was a saint, never said I was perfect, never pretended to be anybody fancy or important or even extra special on a stick.
She'll
I've
probably
always-
post a clip of me saying that I can't wait for Connie's mom to die.
On a stick.
I've always said that I was an ordinary woman with flaws that went along with it.
What do you consider ordinary?
I don't know.
Then how do you know you're an ordinary woman if you don't know what ordinary is?
Unremarkable then.
You're unremarkable or remarkable? Wait, hang on, what?
Unremarkable.
Well, what does that mean? It's the part where you kick me.
Just
I don't think she heard you.
Probably not.
what
Here,
did he say?
let me help.
He whispered, "This is the part where you kick me."
I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah, no, I barely heard it. I had headphones on.
Such a dip dong.
All right. I got to go finish up the dishes and stuff. I just wanted to jump up and give my opinion on the situation because, I'm shy and retiring like that and would never say something.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck all the way off.
Bag of rancid donkey dick. Get to eating.
Anyway, I'll catch you later.
All right. Be well, Liz. Thanks for having me.
Sure. I'm not perfect. Never said I was. Where people get the idea I've ever pretended to be. But neither are you, lady. You're not perfect either. And perhaps you should look at your own company that you keep instead of worrying about me. I would like to thank everybody in chat who came to watch me rant. I appreciate you coming by. Thanks to Andrew and Chicky and Corrosive for coming up and giving me some company on my panel. That was one of the things that I had to do. I had to learn that I couldn't be perfect all the time, that my expectations for myself were just too much, that I'm only one person, I only have two hands. I can't split myself in half and make myself go to two places at once. Yeah, I certainly was never worrying about what a happy hippie was saying until she decided that I was somehow lying or whatever. I guess she thinks she has receipts, though. We'll see. I know what this panel is a receipt of. It's a receipt that you don't have the ovaries to come up here and talk to me like an adult and reason like an adult. No, you want to stay in your little corner with your arms folded, and then you're going to make your little artwork like a kid. That's fine. But it says a whole lot more about you than it does about me. I'm perfectly upfront and open with what I've said and what I meant and how I felt, and I'm not sorry. The fact that you want to pearl clutch over Rebel, he deserves everything he's gotten. Everything. With each dox and each screaming threat and threatening people's jobs and his expectations, the fact that you don't think he deserves people disliking him and even having nasty things to say to try to make him go away, because that's really what a lot of people want. There's a lot of people that are entertained by him, but then there's people like me that are just tired of him. See, I started out, wanting to help him do something. I have an autistic son who would never, ever talk to me the way Rebel talks to his mother, who would never talk to anybody the way Rebel talks here, ever. But yeah, let's go ahead and wring our hands over this one. I get it. People get taken in by, I'm just a poor welfare child routine. But I'm done. I realized back in September that my efforts were futile, that he was never going to change. So the only thing that we could do going forward was choke him off. That credit card that your mom has drawn money out on to buy you your weed, Connie, that kind of way out isn't going to last forever. And then what will you do? Because you talk about how you're not addicted. You're not addicted. You're not addicted. It's just weed. You're not addicted. The fact that you're screaming and carrying on drove your mother to draw out money on her credit card, which had to have a subprime lending rate, by the way. I don't know where you think this is going, but it's not going anywhere good for either of you. And it's not up to anybody on YouTube, anybody on the internet, any stranger in the world to bail you out. That's your responsibility. And it does kind of fall on you because she's gone into debt for you. I heard what you were saying about not having enough money, that having to use it for bills. You'd be just like everybody else. You'd have to use most of your money for bills and not have much left over for extras. You know, there are people that have gotten off welfare and didn't have anything at first, but they worked up to having more because they put work in and moved up in their job. You know, you talked about how you're 34, you didn't start making a life for yourself in your 20s. Well, Connie, life threw me some curves, and my husband and I basically had to start all over again. I started a new career field at the age of 41, a field I had no experience in. I took a job that I am pretty sure I was making a less an hour than you were making at McDonald's, by the way. I was at my very lowest point, but I had to make some changes. I had to do something. I had to start somewhere, and I started at the bottom. I don't have a fancy position now, but I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm making some money in a field I'm good at that I can manage to work full time with both my physical and mental limitations. Because I don't have intellectual limitations, but I do suffer from a mental illness. I'm impatient. I'm cross. I'm temperamental. I'm not good with people. So I have a job where I don't talk to people. But you'd have to want it for yourself. I can't want it for you. What you've been doing all these years has been counterintuitive to your mental health. It's made you more desperate. It's made you more paranoid. It's made you meaner. It's made you more hateful. It's made you more mentally ill. It's counterintuitive. And you think that going out and working part-time is counterintuitive. But it's not. You would find that getting away from this every day would be good for you. To have a certain set of hours a day that you're not thinking about Andrew, that you're not thinking about whoever you're pissed off that day, or who's getting donos on what channel, because you're getting money doing your job. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. But it's life. And you're not an exception to the rule. You're not a special case. You're not that different from everybody else. There's nothing about you that makes you exempt from having to sacrifice. So I want to thank everybody for coming by. And we found out once and for all, a happy hippie is what we call in Texas, all hat and no cattle, all talk, no action. She don't want to come up here and have a conversation. She doesn't want to work it out. That's fine. But I made my point. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Y'all have a great evening.